So, you want to run an ultra marathon, be it 50K, 50 miler, 100K, 100 miler, or so on. You're wondering if you can do it. So I see this question come up a lot in the Facebook groups and all, and usually goes something like, hey guys, I'm kind of new to running. I've done a couple marathons. I just wondering if I could do a 100K and so on. And then a lot of times I see people respond with, no, you have to do the 50K first, and then 50 miler, then you could do 100K. And I really hate that answer. A lot of people say, yeah, go for it, which is good, because you should. So, but it all kind of depends on what your goals are. So let's say you're like me. So I'll use myself as an example for this, because I kind of fit that general mold I see of the question being asked. Pretty new to running, had done 3 marathons, ran a 5:30, a 4:14, and a 3:48. So, you know, I was getting better at it, and then I signed up for 100K about, what was that, 3 months after my 3:48 marathon. And my goal was to finish, and I did. 17 hours and like 30 minutes. So it is possible, you can do it. Just I think it comes down to one simple word or term, is to be reasonable. If you are super new to running and you went ahead and did your first marathon, but it took you 6.5 hours, and now you want to go do 100K, and you got a 16 or 17 hour cutoff, it might not be too reasonable. So in that case, yeah, maybe start with something a little lower, like a 50K or something. But, you know, or just do some trail races too, get used to that elevation. So being reasonable in what you want out of it, and reasonable in the training you put into it. Like right now I'm out here on my way home from work. I have 10.5 miles from the trailhead by my work to my house, and then tomorrow morning 10.5 miles back. So I'll do that twice a week, home and back, get myself 40 miles and get some more miles in on the weekend, because I'm training for a 100 miler. So I am trying to be reasonable in my training so I could do reasonably well in my 100 miler. I do not expect like a top 10 result or anything, but I do expect to do well by my own standards. Let's see, I'm 3 miles in now. And yeah, I have my goals, which is another thing. So once you pick a race, you know, have your goals, what you want to do, what you want out of it. A goal, B goal, C goal. For me, C goals always finish. B goal is usually what I think I can reasonably do. And A goal might be an aspirational goal where if the stars align and everything goes great, just maybe I can reach that goal. And that's how I set mine up. Whew. But when it comes to actually picking the race you're going to look into it, especially like cutoff times and all. So like my first 100K, which is the Malibu Canyon Trail Race, which used to be the Santa Monica Mountain Trail Race, I changed the name. That was run in conjunction with a 100 miler. It was an out and back. So we went out the same way. We just turned around sooner on the 100K. Back to the finish. Nice thing about it, that gave us a like 30 or 32 hour cutoff, something like that. So that was really nice. So I knew going into my 100K, I had 30 hours to do it. I could walk at the pace I'm going right now and finish. So although I want to finish a lot sooner, yeah, I wasn't stressed about the time. It was just, don't quit, just keep moving. So you might want to look for something like that for your first ultra. Make sure if you're on the slower pace, that's going to have a more gracious cutoff time. So yeah, pick a reasonable race to do with a reasonable cutoff. The other thing is a reasonable distance, and not like 100K, 50K, whatever, but distance from where you live. So like, I'm fortunate, I live in Southern California, just outside the San Juan Mountains. Tons of racing around here. So I could sleep in my bed at night, get up in the morning, drive to the race. So it just makes it easier. So you're not throwing so much effort into it and so much money for renting Airbnb, a hotel, whatever. So try and keep it easy the first time around. So I think the last thing I'll leave it on is you got to put in a reasonable amount of work. Like right now I said I'm doing this back and forth to work, which I'm very fortunate to have these trails connecting my house and my work. And then so I'm able to get 40 miles in with my schedule during the week, hopefully another 10, 15, 20 on the weekend. So, and this is for my 100 miler. And then hopefully as I get closer, about 4.5 months out, I'll start scaling that up a bit more. Maybe do this 3 times a week. But right now I'm just building. So I'm trying to put in a reasonable amount of work to get my result. I did not do that for my first 100K. Oh, I was dying at the end of that thing. I was doing maybe 20 miles a week. And it bit me hard. So, you know, I often say that I didn't get the race I wanted, but I did get the one I trained for. So, if you want a good race, train for a good race. So, which is what I'm attempting to do now. Alright, so I hope I got my point across with all that. Pick a reasonable distance. Don't go from a 6.5 hour marathon to 100K with a 15-hour cutoff. You know, don't it's like, I want you to go for it, but I don't want you to overshoot yourself. But the worst thing that could happen is you drop or you don't make a cutoff. But learn from it. You know? Go for what you want, and if you don't get it, guess what? Most races come around again once a year. So, and there's plenty of them out there. But try and be reasonable with your goal. So if you're running, you know, sub 4-hour marathons and all that, you know, bump your mileage up maybe a little or something like that, or keep your training going. Find a 100K near you or 50 miler, whatever you want to do. Go give it a try. Be reasonable with the distance, and then be reasonable with your goals. Reasonable with the training. and what you're going to get out of it. So, but yeah, I hate seeing people respond to those questions with, no, you need to start with a 50K before you could go on to anything higher. And yeah, I'll admit, going from a marathon to 100K is a long way to go. So, but it is doable. I am proof of that. So, you know, enjoy yourself, have fun. If you're in Southern California, KHRaces. Yeah, I think it's KHRaces.com. She runs a lot of great events out here. Going to be doing the Malibu Canyon Trail race in a couple weeks. So that's the 100K that'll be repeating. So for example, this will be my third 100K. I did the one last year. I had to drop the Sean O'Brien. That's a whole nother story. And now I'm coming back to, you know, redo the Malibu Canyon. And so I've done the 100K before. I've done 50 milers, 50Ks, many marathons since then. And, you know, so for me, reasonable distance, 100K, cool. I'm training for a 100 miler right now, so 100K should be well within my wheelhouse. My goals, I think, are, you know, or a goal, your aspirational goal for me, I want to finish before sundown. I already looked it up. On June 8th, the sun will be setting in Malibu at 8:05 p.m. So, you know, we're kind of getting into summertime now, so days are a bit longer. So that gives me, it's like 14 hours, 35 minutes. So, I mean, that's 3 hours quicker than what I did last year. But having learned a lot from last year's race and then all the other ones I've done since then, I can easily see where I could cut 3 hours off my race. So I still think it'll be hard, and, you know, stars are going to have to align for me to really push it to get in. And, you know, I think with the training I've been doing, it's within reach. It's aspirational because it's a 3-hour PR, but I do think it's within reach. Let's see, then there's the B goal, more realistic goal. And I think I put that around 15 and a half hours, something like that. Like, so an hour longer, so 2 hours off what I did last year, but that gives me like a 15-minute mile pace, which is well within most of the ultras I've been doing since then. Have been well under 15 minutes per mile. So I shouldn't have a problem doing that. I think the last one I did, the 50 miler, I was a little bit over 15 minutes per mile, but I also had almost no training going into that. I was kind of coming off a break, and just, it was Ray Miller beginning of December, and I just wanted to do it. Yeah, so, you know, Beagle I think is more reasonable, getting in 15 and a half hours, and then Seagull, just finish. So that's how I have my race set up, and then I'm really waiting to see how I do before I look towards my goals for my 100 miler in October. But yeah, give yourself a reasonable amount of time to train too. That goes into the reasonable amount of training. So you don't want to ramp up too quick and hurt yourself. So I got pretty much started training for this at 5 months to go, coming off training for marathons. I did 3 this year already. Should do 2 more this summer. So anyway, I hope that helps. Hope that motivates someone to go ahead and pull the trigger. Like I said, if you're in Southern California, KHRaces. Kara puts on a lot of great events. There's also SoCal Trails out here. They do a couple of 50Ks. They got Bulldog, a real famous one. That one's coming up in August. I'll be there for the 50K. They do sell out pretty fast. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if that one. I got my friend Megan signed up today, so there are still spots left. But yeah, Bulldog over in the San Juan Mountains, and then No Name which is pretty much in these mountains right around here. That one basically happens on the trail adjacent to this one over the hill. So that's a fun one too. So yeah, lots of good 50Ks, 50 milers, 100Ks out here. So I'm sure wherever you're at, if you're near any mountainous area or something, someone's got to be putting on a race. If not, start one. So there you go. All right, take care. Oh, and watch out for rattlesnakes too, because yeah, they're like all over right now.